Okay, I'm going to show you how to make a lettuce tower. Now, this is a great way of growing lettuce. It looks a bit quirky, but actually it's quite a good way of growing it, because it grows a lot of lettuce in a very small space. I've got about 48 lettuces in here. If you actually planted those out in the open ground, it's probably going to be a sort of 3 to 4 foot bed, which is sort of like 12 square feet. Whereas here we've got that amount of lettuce in only 1 square foot. So it's actually a very efficient use of space. The good thing about growing in here is I've got a tower made of some mesh which goes into a deep pot, and what I do is I water in the bottom. This has got compost all in the bottom. I water the bottom, which then the water then creeps through into the soil and actually rises up a fair way and waters the lettuce at the bottom, but you can also water at the top, so you get a nice even watering all the way through. It's very simple to make. You just need a decent sized pot. You can use something like an old florist bucket, or just use a bucket like this, one of these cheap buckets. Put some holes in the bottom. You then need a piece of mesh. Now this is a piece of sort of garden fencing. It's really good actually, because it uses this fencing's got quite large holes. You do need reasonable size holes to be able to get the plants through. So this is quite a good size. Roughly for this one, it's roughly 60 centimetres by 60. I think that one was 2 foot by 2 foot. This might be a little bit narrower. And then you literally simply just bend the wire round. You can either use bits of wire,
ties,
yeah, just to tie it, or you can sometimes have bits of wire left when you've cut it to size, which you can actually just bend round on itself.
Oh, that's nice and neat, isn't it? It's a neater solution, probably.
It's probably a bit easier actually, yeah. It's quite simple. Yeah, there you go. Look, just bend it round.
It bends quite easily as well. So.
Yeah. So there we have a cylinder, and as I say, it goes right to the bottom of the pot. Now the good thing, as I say, it makes it more stable. We want to start filling this with some compost. Oh, hang on a minute. Let me put the membrane in. The other thing you need, of course, is a membrane on the inside. Now I'm using this permeable membrane that you actually use. It's like ground cover that you put on the ground to stop weeds growing. The good thing about it is because it's permeable. It means that the water, when you're watering the base of the pot, the water can get through the membrane to the compost in the centre. So that's quite important. I mean, you could use plastic, but I think it's better that you can allow water to get through.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's fine.
The water evaporating too quickly as well, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
In the summer.
Yeah. So if you want to start to fill that with compost and the base, I'll put some in the top. Like
just ordinary multi-purpose.
It's just an ordinary multi-purpose compost.
Peat-free one.
Yeah, I mean you could fill the bottom with a bit of soil from the garden, really, if you wanted to, just
for ballast.
For ballast to save on money, and it'll also be a bit heavier. That's it.
Okay.
So what you can do, you can actually plant lettuces around the base if you wanted to, or literally just in the tower. Yeah, more on top. Now what you do is you start to fill it in the top, but you want to fill just to the first layer. So it's about this high now, which is about right, because it's actually a lot easier to plant and gradually fill up. Now ideally for this, I actually got a lettuce in a pot here, but ideally you sow some lettuce first in some cell trays, so you've got nice little plants, and them in little plugs, so that when you pull the plug out of the cell tray, they've really got a nice formed tight root ball that makes them really easy to plant. So what you do is, we've got to just cut. Easy is hard to do. There you go. What I find is easy is actually if you make a cross cut to give a bigger hole. And then you literally take your lettuce plant, and you can be quite ruthless with them. As long as you keep a bit of root on, you can take a little bit of root off, squeeze it, and then push it through the hole. And when you get it through just so that the very base of the plant is sort of level with the mesh, or with the membrane. And then you start to put a little bit more compost in the top. And then just squeeze down, just push down gently, just to firm the plant. And then you go around and plant in each segment of the mesh, and just keep adding a little bit more compost. And then you move up to the next layer, and then you keep building up like that. And when you get to the top, you can plant some in the top, and then just give it a good watering, really soak it at the top, really soak it at the bottom. And then every few days, all you need to do is just put a bit of water in the bottom, just a little bit in the top, and then you get a lovely tower like this. Good thing about this as well is you can just pluck 1 or 2 leaves off. You don't have to take the whole lettuce, and it will last a few weeks like this before you could have to sort of dismantle and perhaps make another one. So that's how to make a lettuce tower.